Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be shooting steel with the 22-250. We're going to do so using three different ammunition choices. We're going to be using the 45 grain jacketed hollow points by Winchester, the 50 grain VMAX bullets, the Hornady Varmint Express that is, and the 55 grain VMAX bullets by Fiocchi. Now I have chronographed each of the three ammunition choices off camera to get a feel for what kind of speed numbers am I getting through my rifle as opposed to what the manufacturer thinks I ought to be getting. So I've crunched those numbers. We'll share that with you in a moment here. Once we go over the numbers, we'll go right out. We'll shoot the steel at 100 yards just to kind of gauge the effectiveness of each of the three ammo choices. And at the end of doing so, we're going to loop right back through and give you the exact same footage from a very different angle. I was also filming that day through the scope using the ATN X-Sight 4K Pro scope. So it'll give you a chance to see, if you like that scope for your daytime hunting needs or not. And as far as the stability of the scope and rifle is concerned, keep in mind that I was not shooting that day with a nice shooting table and a good sandbag underneath of the rifle for maximum stability. I was just simply using a tripod system by Bog called the Bog Death Grip. So as far as the stability goes, if you want to kind of judge this one way or the other, keep in mind that I had my scope zoomed in on about 11 or 12 power. One of the things that I have found is that the less zoom I have, the more stable the scope seems to be. The more zoom I put into the equation, it seems like it really tells on me, and the scope seems to be moving around a lot when I watch the playback. So what I'm trying to say is this: if you like the stability that you're about to see, and you know that you normally only hunt with 4, 5, or 6 power, then you'll probably really like the Bog Death Grip tripod for your own hunting needs. But on the flip side of the coin, if you're not so sure that you like the stability, and you know that I'm using about 11 or 12 power, and you also know that you normally like to use 16 or 20 power on your own scope, then you might find that it's a bit of a challenge with the Bog Death Grip tripod at first until you get the hang of it, or you may just feel that it's not the right product for you. One way or the other, at least you'll have a chance to make, a fair assessment on it. So at any rate, if you like today's video, please remember to click the like button, do subscribe, and turn on the notifications icon if you haven't already done so. And as always, we're looking forward to your comments. Thanks again. Alright, so when I chronographed these different ammunition choices, I started off with the 22-250 45 grain jacketed hollow point by Winchester. The advertised velocity right on the box, they claim 4,000 feet per second. I found that they were definitely telling the truth and then some. One of the shots I even clocked it doing a little bit above 4,100 feet per second. So my average there was 4,075 feet per second, which means they've exceeded their claims by about 1.8%, at least on my chronograph they did. In terms of the 50 grain VMAX bullets, the Hornady Varmint Express, on the box they're claiming 3,800 feet per second. I've got them coming in right around 3,723, but that might just be me. So according to my rifle and my chronograph, they're missing goal, but they're not missing their stated claims by much. They're off by about 2%. The one that caused me some concern was Fiocchi. Now normally when I shoot Fiocchi through a handgun and I chronograph that ammo, it's usually some of the hottest stuff that I shoot. But for whatever reason, their 55 grain bullet on the box, they're claiming 3,680. Actually, to be honest, they're not making any claim on the box now that I think about it. But it is pretty common for manufacturers to claim that 55 grain 22-250 is doing 3,680 feet per second. So I made the assumption that if they were keeping up with the rest of their peers, they'd be doing 3,680. However, I found that they were only doing about 3,400 feet per second, which is about 7.6% below what you might expect. In terms of the energy numbers, the 45 grain jacketed hollow point was 1658 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, 1538 foot-pounds of energy on the 50 grain bullet, and 1411 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle on the 55 grain VMAX. However, how will they be doing at 100 yards when they hit the steel? I'm expecting the 45 grain jacketed hollow point to arrive doing 3410 feet per second, 1162 on the foot-pounds energy numbers. The 50 grain bullet, I'm expecting that to arrive doing right around 3270 feet per second, 1187 foot-pounds of energy. And on the 55 grain VMAX, I anticipate that it should show up at 100 yards doing about 3000 feet per second, about 1100 foot-pounds of energy. We'll be shooting at this steel spinner target, distance 100 yards, with a 22-250, 50 grain VMAX bullet, Hornady Varmint Express. Alright, this is the steel spinner target that was just now hit at 100 yards with a 22-250, 50 grain VMAX, Hornady Varmint Express. Looks like we hit him just a little bit above center. Pretty decent size hole there. And on the back, good sized dimple on the back, but it did not punch through. We'll be shooting at a distance of 100 yards with a 22-250, 55 grain VMAX by Fiocchi. Alright, this is the steel spinner target that was just now hit at 100 yards with a 22-250, 55 grain VMAX bullet this time by Fiocchi. If you look on the left, that's the 55 grain VMAX. Here was the 50 grain VMAX. Almost identical. It does seem like that 50 grain is just a tiny bit wider. And I know you're not, have no way of really knowing this, but it looks like the 50 grain is just a little bit deeper. And here's the back. Alright. Shooting at a distance of 100 yards, 22-250, 45 grain jacketed hollow point by Winchester. Alright, this is the steel spinner target that was just now hit at 100 yards with a 22-250, 45 grain jacketed hollow point by Winchester. Hit him dead center. And there's your entry hole, of course. And your exit hole is on the back. And once again, the first shot of the day was the 50 grain VMAX by Hornady, then a 55 grain VMAX by Fiocchi. Shooting at a distance of 100 yards with a .22-250 using the 50 grain bullet, Hornady Varmint Express. Shooting at a distance of 100 yards with a .22-250, 55 grain VMAX by Fiocchi. Shooting at a distance of 100 yards with a .22-250, 45 grain jacketed hollow point by Winchester.